What's up, y'all? Hope you are having a wonderful day. My name is Xavier Ramey. I am coming with y'all live with the Unsaid. I'm going to be joined pretty soon by my brothers in arms, Jamal Cannon, Ernest Krim, Dion Dawson. We're going to be talking about the presidential election. There was a chance to see it. And you probably have seen some of I'm not going to call it backlash, but I will call it the scrutiny and the fallout from the debate from both candidates. What's up, Dion?
What's going on, brother? How you feeling, man?
Man, I'm feeling good, brother. How are you?
I'm well.
Good.
Great to be back on, man. I feel like this we all joke, but seriously, like I done got so used to like knowing how y'all doing that like I'm gonna be talking to you bums.
That's all right.
Listen, I'm excited to be discussing the real issues today. Like, what is your golf handicap?
I don't know my golf handicap.
Joe Biden felt the need to discuss it.
Hey, no. He felt the need to respond, say his handicap, and then say the wrong number right after.
He got pushed off of it. You want to be the leader of the free world? You can't even hold tight on a number.
Hey, listen to me. I'm letting y'all know now. If I say I averaged 27 in high school, I'm keeping that number close. Right. I'm letting y'all know.
Right. I'm not switching up when you put a little bit of pressure on. Ooh, that was a moment.
Man.
I'm going out to move my location. Okay, this is better. But see, I'm out here in this Airbnb, y'all, and I was trying to sit outside in the beauty of the majesty of the greater Portland area. But what I got to do now is come to this shanty of a shack I'm in and do this from here.
Okay.
As soon as you picked up that clay cup, like everything just started going wrong, and I was like, I don't know if he can. Okay, I'm sorry.
Jamal, help me out, bro.
Oh my God!
Help me out, bro.
Hey, you know what though?
He's a menace.
Wait. You want me to tell you what I love about that? You have shown everybody that Jamal will join your side with no qualms, and I don't like that. like that's wild. But you know what though? I accept it. Because that's the truth. That's the truth. Oh. Is that who I think it is?
No, it is who it is. Number 4.
It can't be.
Mr. Black History. Come on, April Black History. Come on, May Black History.
We got the superstar,
come on, June
baby.
Black History.
The champ is here.
Yo, I want everybody to know that our viewers jumped up from 5 to 76.
Listen,
as soon as this famous motherfucker logged on. That's crazy.
He's Harriet Tubman's favorite Harriet Tubman. He's telling the Sojourner truth.
Hey, he is so popular that he went live before he got on this live to tell everybody to jump on this live.
Go over to this other live I'm gonna be on.
Hey, man.
Yo, wow.
We
y'all. They miss y'all. That's what it is.
Hey, man. Hey, it's wild when I only see my friends on CBS. That's crazy.
Listen, so okay. So this is how we're gonna start it. Let me get a little smooth intro, and we're gonna jump right into exactly that point, Dion. Welcome everybody to the Unsaid Live. This is a taping of. This is not a taping. This is just 4 brothers talking. We're talking about what is often left unsaid through the eyes, the lens, the hearts, the minds, and the ambitions of Black men. We are 4 social sector leaders coming through with some of the heaviest hitters from the social impact community of Chicagoland. Dion Dawson, Ernest Krim, Jamal Cannon, and the greatest Leo to ever Leo, Xavier Ramey.
While he Leos, that's crazy.
Wow.
That's crazy.
All right, so here's the thing. A lot of people, we're going to jump into this conversation about the election. We're going to jump into this conversation. So there's 2 things. There's the election and there's the debate. But the first thing I wanted to do is just big up y'all brothers, man. Y'all have been crushing it.
Appreciate it.
Y'all have been crushing it. I've been watching y'all. I've been applauding for y'all. I've been quietly looking at and not liking y'all's videos. I've been making sure that, wherever there was an ambition for me, I would look at what you were doing and consider copying that and acting as if I never saw it. Y'all are doing so much theft-worthy career stuff right now. Man, I'm just so impressed, man. Dion, I've seen you with some of the most incredible skinny jeans on the biggest stages in America over the last month, man. I have seen so many parts of your thighs that nobody needed to know existed, right? E, I don't know who's on your hair and makeup. Dion, you ain't got time to talk. E, I don't know who's on your hair and makeup, but somebody is doing it somewhat right. And I want you to know, brother, after I seen you, he been on CBS, Colin Kaepernick, and shaking up hands when he got videos out here with this and that. And not only the big stages, the brother's still in the schools. The brother's still in the churches. The brother's still in the community centers, giving away knowledge. Jamal, man.
Hey, bro, they actually pay E in the peanut butter and jelly little sandwich wafer bars. Like, they actually.
That's actually true. Long as you feed me, you know what I'm saying? I'll be
there. Big facts. And y'all have seen Jamal's hair go everywhere without a line. He has been consistently himself. He is becoming more and more forehead. And the reality is
Stephen A. Smith.
He's becoming Stephen A. Smith.
Stephen A. Smith forehead joke. I can't laugh at that.
That's horrible.
I would say it was a receding hairline, but you're younger than me. It's just what God gave you. My bad.
My man had an excellent opportunity to uplift the work that Jamal continues to do, but he couldn't do it.
Jamal is doing some of the greatest work at the block right now. Y'all have seen this man, again, another one, elevating stages, expanding the conversation about young people. But I also want to call out Jamal because he's been holding down a really tough lane on social media, man. Your content that you've been putting out, the points you've been making about intersectionality, the points you're still making about parenting and being accountable for us not continuing to do what we got when we were kids, but also what you've been willing to jump out and say about Palestine, what you've been willing to jump out and say about masculinity, what you've been willing to jump out and say about women's sports, all types of stuff, man. Like, you are just showing your range, and that your values have a central focus, and any issue can be discussed and engaged because we can predict your integrity, brother. And that's something that I think the world needs more of people, but it also needs more of specifically for men. The ability to predict their integrity based off of the consistency of their actions and how they show up, brother. And you do that in an incredible way. I just wanted to start this off by giving y'all some big ups. I know I gave y'all a little joking joke, but I'm also watching y'all, man. And I'm just so proud of all three of y'all for what you're doing. And I'm really humbled to just be in this group. And that's why I know that this conversation today on both the debate and the election is going to be really powerful, because we're all approaching it from the lens of having one foot into what the people who need America to be better.
Shut up.
Calm down, boy. Calm down.
Hey, shut up. Listen. Shut up. Stop. Because like even though you like gave us our flowers, I'm gonna give you yours. So like, all jokes aside, like we a group. And you know what I mean? Like, it's been a while since we all talked, but like, I was in that room when you did your classic keynote. You know what I mean? And like I saw you in action. You know what I mean? And like, the man killed.
The way this man puts together words and explains the inequity in this system. Smoothly too. So smoothly.
And for real, like, all jokes aside, the good thing about it is like, all of us have our things. But for you, we know that when it comes to, like, you know what I'm saying, like keynotes and you actually being out there further than we are, we're still learning from you. And so like, let's not like gloss over the fact that like we all joke around, but like seriously, you killed it in a way where like I was there and I forgot that like I knew you. That's when I know like I can consume something, because like I forgot I knew you, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, like, he's killing it, and I'm looking at how you're inspiring people in the room. You know what I mean? And so like all jokes aside, like a lot of your work, which is something, you know what I mean, like I always push you on, a lot of your work and a lot of your action is off social media. And so like, you know what I'm saying, allow me to just like take a moment to lift you up and say like, man, like, nah, like you've been killing it. And like, I definitely was learning a few things when you dropped the classic keynote, and when we're just in these rooms, and I appreciate being there, because you deserve that backup. You know what I mean? Like, you've done it and you've been doing it, but it's another thing when you do it at a level where you can like inspire your peers. And so, like, bravo and kudos to you for doing that, because like, dog, like your ability, I love seeing all of us like take that second and snap in. And like, when I saw you do it, I'm like, man, like, dog, he killed it. Like, it was crazy.
That reminds me, that makes me realize I've never actually seen him in his element. I just see him do a day-to-day thing, and I'm just like, whoa, what is that? You see him in just like a normal conversation, and your mind is blown. It's like, how do you connect these ideas? I've never seen him prepare for something. I've never.
He jump in. He jump in.
No, and
he don't even walk to the stage. He levitates to the stage. He points to the back. They turn the mic
That's
on.
it. No. He come with his own mic in his back pocket. You know what I mean? He got a universal signal that it connect to every network. He paid for that.
Hey, don't get it twisted. He is a LinkedIn beast though. Y'all see people sleep on LinkedIn. I'll be seeing the journals and the blogs on them.
Bro, the man. No, listen. He posted something one time, bro. And I clicked see more. And I said, oh, damn. I said,
what a book,
hey,
bro.
It went from a tweet to a scroll. I was like, hold up. I said, he ain't playing. I got to like paragraph 4. I said,
look, man, I don't do short form. I don't do short form. If you ain't ready to sit down for 48 minutes, don't talk to me. If you ain't ready to read a whole dissertation, don't open up my stuff. If you're not ready to really deal with and focus on the issue with all the nuances, the details, the intersectionality, the fractal nature of it all,
come on.
I'm not the one. I'm not going to be out here with clips.
That's right. What he said.
So nah, man. Now you could jump in, X, but you tried to gloss over that, and I didn't like it.
All right,
yeah. No, it's been dope. I will say this, right? Because a lot of people ask, how do you prepare for public speaking? Everybody has their own methodology. Anytime I'm speaking, it actually starts weeks in advance. It starts weeks in advance, and it starts with me listening to where the world's at. Just voraciously reading the news, researching the client, understanding who their audience is, who their clients are, all these sorts of things. Like, I start weeks in advance. I don't have like a list of my talking points. Y'all ain't seen me go on stage with no speeches or nothing, and that's because I'm preparing for weeks in advance. Knowing that the point of a speech is not to talk about how. See, Jamal. He's
about to say.
No, listen, Jamal.
He gonna connect that to the presidential.
Listen. Oh. As soon as he did, as you said that, Jamal, his hand did this, and when the hand do this, it's over. It's
all to the races.
Hey, this is why we can't overcome as a people, man. Y'all some clowns. Nah, but you don't get up there with talking points. You get up there with a testimony. Yeah. Nobody's we're all for social change agents. So who's gonna listen to us talk about the how-to of how to do work that very few people ever do? The reason why they don't do the work that we do, and they don't do the work that we're calling them to, is not because they don't understand what it requires or what it entails. Is because they haven't agreed yet to what it costs to them.
Yep.
And that's not a question of intellect. That's not a question of logic. It's not a question of strategy. That's a question of will and courage. And so all of us, whenever we're talking publicly, we're not calling people to a better strategy or a deeper understanding of what to do when this happens, or how do we tackle poverty, or how do we deal with adolescence and all. It don't matter. Your heart doesn't want to do it. It ain't that you don't, like for Jamal's conversations about parenting. It's not strategy that's getting in the way of people. It's the fact that they don't want to respect young people. Mm-hmm. They don't want to respect, they don't want to sit down and listen and hear. They don't think that person deserves that. When I'm talking about racism and sexism and ableism and all this stuff in the workplace, it's not that people don't understand that the ADA isn't enough. It's not that people don't understand that the Civil Rights Act still didn't create rights for people of color, right? It's that they don't want to think that they need to now compete with us.
Absolutely.
Because they don't know if they can compare with us. that's the reality. It's a will thing. It's a courage thing. It's not a strategy thing or a logic thing. And so how do you prepare for a speech when it's not about giving people a task list, but they think it's about a task list? You prepare by listening to them for weeks and weeks and months to understand why they're still being safe while they're rejecting the only water that they should be drinking. And then you go talk about that. And that's what we're talking about today. Why are we accepting these two options before us? These brothers are not the water we need. That's where I'm at. These two gentlemen on that debate stage last night, current President Joe Biden, former President Donald Trump, took the debate stage for the first time. They're in the same room in 4 years. And we got to see them up close and personal with no help from anybody else. There wasn't even an audience to give them a reaction to what they were saying, to give them some energy. They couldn't feed off of nothing. They had to stand and deliver for whatever they had or whatever they didn't. First question for y'all, and this is more so just high level. We're going to get into the nuances of this a little bit later, but high level, what was your takeaway from the debate last night?
I thought that our plan 4 years ago and voting for Biden so we wouldn't end up in this position again. We're voting for Biden to get rid of Trump, get rid of the idea of Trump. And then throughout those 4 years, what hasn't happened is we haven't inculcated ourselves against the continual threat of Trump. We haven't encoded things in the law that would protect us in the future from Trump. And we haven't thought about who the best person for this job is going to be. I looked up on the stage and I remember thinking the same thing that I thought 4 years ago. Is this the best two that we could do? I've always thought that Joe Biden wanted to be president because Joe Biden wanted to be president. I've never been able to articulate a reason why he actually wanted to be president and the direction he wanted to take the country in. I've always looked at him and seen that he's trying to find the thing that most people are going to agree with. He's going to stay really close to the center and have a bunch of milquetoast reactions and really reflect the time that he's in, as opposed to any strong principles that he holds. And I think that puts us in danger of the prevailing sentiment of any time, as opposed to knowing that somebody is marching forward towards a particular cause. That doesn't mean that these two people are the same to me. It doesn't mean that there is an equivalent risk of electing one person over another. I'm just looking at the system and saying, why are we in the same exact place that we were in 4 years ago when we voted the way we wouldn't be in this place that we were in 4 years ago?
Yeah. I think I appreciated the format, first off. You know what I mean? Like, me and Crystal,
did you watch it?
Yeah. I did. We got in bed. No, actually. Okay. I'll tell you this honestly, because we had the Community Neighborhood Development Awards last night. And so when me and Crystal got in, I was like, man, okay, let's just, lay down, go to bed. And we were like, okay, cool. We'll watch something real quick just to like decompress. And literally when I went into Hulu, before I got to anything, it was right there. And, Crystal allowed me to just, click it. I didn't even ask. I clicked it. And that's why I appreciated the format, number one, because no distraction, no audience, no interruption, repeating the question, all of these things. What I appreciate about it is that from the medium standpoint was respecting the watcher. They were like, you know what? We're going to make this as uninterrupted as possible so that the viewer can see and make their determination. So from the medium perspective, I loved it. Now getting to the performance. With the performance, high level, it left so much to be desired that I found myself watching, listening, and always saying what I wish the person would either focus on or say. And so no question gave me a palatable answer for me to then sit back and stew on. I never got a chance to take a true response and think about how it made me feel. Instead, I looked at the performance and so many other things threw me off by it. The blatant lying, the stuttering, the incomprehensible, responses, the it got trivial. And so just high level, before we kind of get into certain things, it left a lot to be desired. I think both went in, and I think both, which is, ridiculous, but also kind of, not surprising. Both went in and did the opposite of settling their party biggest fear, their party's biggest fear, which was on the Republican side, showing that you're not as bad as people think you are of a person. And on the Democrat side, calming the fears of your age and how you can perform with 4 more years of leading this country. And neither can say that they hit the objective that they wanted.
I don't think many of the Trump Republicans are concerned about Trump's morality.
No, Jamal. I didn't say Trump's Republicans, though. That's the key. So, like, let's be clear. I didn't delineate. I said Republicans, because whether or not we want to admit it, the timeliness of this matters, because one more Joe Biden successful win will push Trump kind of out. And so that's when it will kind of just be the Republican Party again. Granted, it'll still have Trumpism in it, but like that's why I didn't say Trump's Republicans. I just said Republicans overall before we kind of dive into the different factions under that umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
So I admittedly did not see it. I was doing something more important. I was watching women's basketball with my wife, kids, and friends. So, but I've seen enough.
Why you just stumble on us like that?
The man didn't even do the homework,
bro.
Came in here talking. No. Because we didn't have some eloquent. I mean, Jamal using words like milk toast. That's not what it means. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like we got Dion up there talking for 7 minutes. Still don't know what he's saying. What you gonna bring, E?
That's crazy.
This is what I bring. I bring someone who gets their news like most people do, without watching the whole thing, without reading the whole thing, and going based off the headline.
Hey, he just scrambled out the.
He got more followers than me,
bro. He scrambled out the pocket like Mike Vick. That's crazy. He about to get a touchdown. That's crazy.
I'm speaking for the people who don't have time to read the article. We just look at the part before we click see more. We just
did you watch
the video? After seeing the first 3 seconds of the video, we don't watch the whole thing. I saw a 9-minute breakdown on CNN.
Oh yeah,
that's what they want you to think.
And I saw that Black Jobs was trending on Twitter. All right? Without any context, I knew what it was about. But seriously, y'all, I put a poll on my page too, on my story, asking people what they thought. And, most people, I think it was roughly 86%, and I didn't see how many people actually responded, but it kind of hit the consensus of what most people were saying. It was horrible for both, and they want to get out of here. That's what people were saying. I liken this to, and I'm sure y'all can probably relate, having had jobs before y'all started working for yourself and everything. You ever had just someone in leadership that you knew you were more qualified than to have that position, but then you realize that for one, it could be because they're a white male, right? But it also could be because they have the audacity. or the caucasity to believe that they are actually qualified, and they don't care how much they feel or how below average they are. They believe they deserve that position. That describes a lot of my teaching experience. That probably describes how some of y'all feel too. And even as an educator, there would be when you become a teacher, people assume because you got that 4-year degree, that certification, that you're equipped to teach the next 35 years without having to go back to school for something. Life changed. Imagine if you got certified in the 70s and you still teaching. They didn't have cell phones. They didn't have the internet, social media. They didn't have TikTok. The pandemic, but you teaching these kids, right? That's Joe Biden. He been in the game for a long time, and he just assumed because he been here, he qualified to do this job. And bro, it's past time, right? And we ain't got to say nothing about Trump. That's the white male American heteronormative story. Nothing. You're not qualified. You're a horrible person. I mean, you're 34 counts. and the more he's convicted, the stronger he gets. It's like it's like watching like an episode of X-Men, man. Like it's like watching an episode of Spider-Man when like Spider-Man just keep getting hit. Like it's the villain keeps winning. How does this happen? And essentially, my reflection, it's almost like we are at a restaurant, man. We just had cardiac arrest. We just had stage 4 cancer. Like we on a breathing machine. We in a restaurant trying to get some food, and y'all come to me offer me a Luther. Like,
he can't do his homework now. He's filling up the time with metaphors and similes.
no,
hey,
for real,
hey,
y'all offer.
Hey, E,
y'all offer.
Don't worry, E.
It's kind of like
listen, E. I saw his comment. I saw X comment in the his comment below, and I reported him for bullying. Don't worry, I got you.
Thank you.
I told him, bro, we not gonna stand for that no more.
Man, but seriously though, as Americans,
now he gonna bring it to the point
Americans,
that he don't know.
No, bro, we are being offered a Luther's burger, like, and some other deep fried. We just had a heart attack, like, and it's hard to tell people what they should or shouldn't do in this moment, because like we've seen throughout our whole lives, like we ain't been around as long as most folks who've been in the voting game, but like to be told every election is the most important, to be told vote or die, that this is what you have to do or the country's gonna get worse. The country is worse still. So what do we do from here?
Let me just ask a question, y'all. Elephants in the room. Why are we in this situation? We have let's go to what he said, right? And what I've believed for a long time. We have a lot of qualified people in the United States. I don't think that qualified people are very electable.
Yeah.
I've heard people tell me all the time, X, you should run for Congress. X, you should run for alderman. You should run for mayor. You should do it. Y'all don't vote for people like me. Y'all don't vote for people like anybody on here. You may support their candidacy. You will not support their election. You may tell them they should run. You won't even listen to their debate.
Yeah.
I'm just dogging on you, E, just because it's fun and funny. But what I'm saying is that the reality is we are in a so-called participatory democracy that is operating as a so-called republic. And that means that it is a participation activity to engage in politics. It is not simply looking at what did this person say or that person say. If you don't like it, you can build and organize and move towards it. But what we continually see is people speaking against organizing for an alternative. We see people continually saying the DNC and the RNC are corrupt, yada, yada, yada. And then as soon as we get past the primaries, any vote for somebody who's not, the main ticket person is a vote against or for the other person, rather. The reality is we continually speak against the power of individuality and choice. And we go over the group thing and we then complain. And this is why it's getting harder for me the older I get, because this is my 20th year in voting politics. And this is 5 elections now. And I've heard this is not the first time these conversations have been had. This was had back when we were talking about John Kerry and George Bush Jr. This was had when we were talking about Obama versus Hillary the first time. This was had when we were talking about Obama versus McCain and all of it. Like, y'all, this ain't, it's not that this time it's different. We are the same. And we continually use the same arguments to get into this position as a country. And it's increasing. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's hard for me to even have sympathy at this point. I can empathize with the situation, and I understand the risks. If Trump is in office, the number of people that are going to lose rights, the ways that businesses are going to bulldoze this country. Every conversational point he had about how we actually make America better was about making businesses bigger. He named some of them by name. Apple did this, Samsung that. These are all mega companies.
Yeah.
Right. And the assumption that because they get bigger, they'll give jobs to other people, other Americans. The country is then more well off. That's the same thing Reagan was saying. But Biden also corroborates this. I'm saying, like, yo, why are we here? Why are we here?
I think the funniest thing about that is the why are we here is not only the high level question, but I think that us 4 are the answer. Because I think that it's all of these smaller moments kind of just submerging into like this big melting pot of issues. So for example, you talk about why are we here? We know voting is an issue, but when we think about that, I think that goes right into like Jamal and Ernest, you know what I mean? Especially Jamal with the respect of young people, you know what I mean? And understanding that, you know, young people are vital to like really pushing voting and all of that shit forward. So like, how can you talk to somebody about voting or supporting when you won't even respect them? You will not treat them as if they're an adult, but then you try to put the guilt and shame of the entire democracy on their shoulders. And then you have Ernest who's teaching, and teachers aren't getting respected. They aren't getting paid. They're not getting paid a fucking living wage to then teach our young people. So now in the classroom, you have both parties disrespected, underfunded, disregarded. And then when we start to zoom out, you see these things, whereas like with UX, you can't even progress to the level that you should progress to because you feel, whether it's true or not, you know, like you feel as though that support will not be there because there's no proper infrastructure there to like draw it all the way back to the beginning, which is the young people. You know what I mean? I'm looking at this, it's like we're here because there is not enough, there's not enough results tied to the young people voting. Like if a young person voted right now, right? Like matter of fact, last election, their first time voting, Trump won, right? Look what happened during his span, how they were still treated even after they did vote. See, that's the thing, is like the older I get, you know, like just because somebody voted for Trump, that's like I get it, but we're all here. We have to figure out, okay, what made you vote for Trump? What made you vote for Trump? And let's talk about it. But there's no discourse. There's no respect. There's nothing. And so we find ourselves in a situation where, why are we here? Well, right now, we picking between these two. And like you said, one is clearly, they're just like, look, I'm going to get every Supreme Court justice on a private jet and get them a free Starbucks card so that they can, that we can just take whatever right we can. And we're here because of all four of us, and how what we represent is the bigger problem of different backgrounds, different ideals, but discourse being needed to ultimately forge, like create relationships to continue to grow together. It's just not there.
I think there's something we're missing, and I agree with what you're saying, but I think there's a bigger portion of this. When we talk about changing how people are behaving in relation to elections, you have to understand that people are moving based on survival, and that's just how we are built. So when we're talking about changing that interaction and changing how we interact with elections, we're talking about changing what it means to be human. We're talking about changing how we think and process threat and opportunity, and support our own best interests. And in order to do that, people who are not in that constant survival state are going to have to learn how to talk to people beyond just declaring our identities. When we're speaking to other people online, we're speaking to other people throughout our lives. We're just telling them who we are and deciding if they're with us or not. And because of that, there is no space for that discourse. There is no space for convincing and grappling and empathizing with people who sometimes you find objectionable. And that's what it's going to require, and it goes against all of our natural instincts. Absolutely. So when we say that we need to change how we approach elections, we need to change how we see other people. We need to change how we interact with people so we can actually convince somebody instead of putting our flag in the ground saying this is who we are, because there are two ways that we can change this country. We can convince people to do things a different way, or we can kill them. Those are the only two ways that changes are made. Either that or we go off into our silos. So right now we have a country where the prerequisites of being president are audacity and extroversion. That's what we have right now. In order to change that, we need to take a look at what it is that we actually want. We have to talk to people as if they're human beings. We need to convince them to move over even a few feet in our direction, so that we can change what our elections mean to us. But if we're not in survival mode about this, then we need to be bringing other people with us.
A couple things I want to add just to kind of echo some of you all's points. Like I always tell kids when I speak to them, that the end justifies the means. I know we've all heard that saying before. It's quite simple. But when you actually look at, like, when you travel around the country and you see different places and you see the same program that's there's the same program in Chicago and Joliet and Minnesota and LA and Miami, New York, New Jersey, you'll be like, dang, they were really deliberate about every major city, medium-sized city being redlined. Every city having us here, not having resources, not having proper schools. And then you look at, let's say on the high end, the federal level, you look at the the president, just look at the list, right? You see all of these white men, one black person, right? And the end, no women, the end justifies the means, right? Like all of this that we see is because this is what is wanted. This is what we deserve. This is what has been created intentionally, right? And just to put it quite simply, you know, a couple things. One, you know, there are times where let's say I'll go to a restaurant, go back to the restaurant metaphor, right? And you, as someone who does not eat meat, I'm often told that these are the only options we have here. But as someone who wants to eat a certain way, I say, well, can you ask the chef if they can do this and that for me? And most often they say, yeah. I say that because I think that we have taught ourselves and our kids that this is how it has to be. And they come to us every 4 years. Here's your options. That's what you got. Like, no, like, do we truly believe we could change this? I don't think that as a collective we do. I don't truly think that. And I think that we're also taught that this is the only way to change things. Voting is not the only way. That's one option. Like what we do collectively has not been, to me, has not been inspired by voting. Like we took the initiative to do something that we saw that was created by something that came before us, but we didn't do it because dang, Obama did it, right? Like that can be an example, but it's just one thing. We have to be able to teach people the myriad of ways we can change things and how voting is supposed to be something that helps us. They work for us. The last thing I want to say too is I was thinking the other day about like just, you know, the hysteria that's warranted around Project 2025. And I was just like, dang, you know, what's the liberal version of Project 2025, right? What's the Democratic version? And I say that because like oftentimes their whole thing is we're not them, like we're not them, we're not as bad as them. But it's like, then what good then are you doing? Like you just a team that play defense? Like what's the vision that this side has for the future? Y'all can't even agree on reparations for us on that side. Not even talking about the right side, the left side. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think there's a lot that has to be done on the foundational level, and I think that a lot of this even speaks to why they want to ban TikTok, as simple as it sounds, because our kids are overexposed probably to these injustices more than any other group every generation. And when they get to a certain age, I believe they can begin to put these things together and see like this ain't working the way y'all told me to. Y'all been lying. And that's when things begin to change. But I really want to know, like, do we believe it? And are we teaching our kids to believe that something can be better from this?
But I think, go ahead, X.
I was just gonna say, I look at when something goes wrong, you know, let's use an old phrase from Mike Tyson. Everybody's got a plan till they get punched in the face. Right now, this election and these options feel like a real punch in the face. And so I'm looking back and I'm asking the bigger question that leaders have to ask: what was the plan? If the plan was, well, you know, and I'm not saying this to throw, you know, I'm just saying like where y'all were coming from. Like Jamal, you're saying like people are in survival mode. I agree. And so when you give them water, they should drink, but they don't. When you tell them you don't want to get to a situation where in, you know, June 27th, 28th, you're looking at this type of an experience. And so I'm asking you in December of 2023, I'm begging you in June of 2023, I am imploring you in August of 2022, get involved, educate yourself, support local people, read up on this. Stop saying that's political and start saying this is about me. The rain comes, but you can smell it and you know it's coming by the clouds.
Yeah.
That's why I said, like, it's tough for me to be like, oh man, this bogus, how we get here. These are our options. Come on, man. We knew this. We knew this. That's why I say, like, it's hard for me to have sympathy on this situation.
Facts.
Right? Like, we knew this. We shot down, and I'm still shooting down. We got other candidates right now. Who's talking about Jill Stein? Who's talking about Cornel West? Both of them was on Instagram last night going off. Everybody's talking about Gavin Newsom. He did a debate right out, not a debate, but a little interview right after the debate last night. Everybody's like, he's looking real presidential. The CNN debate, I did about half an hour watching CNN post analysis, and then I did another half an hour watching Fox. That's what I do every time. And I'm sitting there watching these side by sides for an hour after this 2-hour debate. And I'm like, both of these groups are saying the same thing. I've been saying this for a long time. If both sides are saying this is about survival, you think Donald Trump's people ain't saying this about survival? As much as our cousins are saying this is about survival? They say this is about education. Oklahoma just made y'all put the 10 Commandments and a Bible in every classroom. And I'm a Christian. I think that's wrong. Right? Like, and then over here, we're saying, man, you need to educate yourself. We need to elevate people like Ernest Krim. Both sides are talking about education. So if everybody's saying the same thing, the third thing then is the way. But the reality, that's what I'm saying, the third thing requires courage and will. I know that my candidates don't often win. In Chicago, the very first time I ever won an election was when Brandon Johnson got the mayorship. But usually the candidates I go for don't win. And that's because I'm always voting on my integrity versus the idea of consensus. And now what I'm saying right now might seem like some liberated mindset. The father of libertarianism said it. Henry David Thoreau said it in the book Civil Disobedience. You should never assign what you know to be right to the matter of consensus. And that's the reality. Voting is a form of gaming then. If you know that your candidate didn't win, but it was the right thing to do, do you just change? Because, well, I mean, we got to win. We got to get a foot in there first, y'all. We've been trying to get a foot in there my whole life. Ain't got a toe in. This is not the move. That's what I'm saying. This isn't the move. This can't be the move. Jay said it. This can't be life. Like, it can't be. Like, what I'm saying is that, yes, people react based off of survival needs. Come higher. Come higher. I hear it. I know it. And I feel it. I got to deal with it too. Come higher. You ain't got no excuse for that. You may have what you think is a reason. That's an excuse. And as long as we continue to allow the conversation for our people, the same way that the Trump folks allow for their people, well, they need this. They in the rural areas. They need this as survival. Sure, come higher. Y'all come higher too. That's why I said this ain't about strategy. This is courage and willpower, man. And I've had the whole idea of just vote down the line, vote down the ticket, vote DNC, vote this for now decades of my life. Decades of my life. And it never turns out the right way. And it's often not just because we get bad candidates. It's because people think that they're supposed to show up once every 4 years like a deadbeat dad and give you their 15 minutes of engagement. And somehow that's supposed to transformationally change the life of someone. Come on, man. And that's what I'm saying. It's not, I don't even care about the candidates right now. I'm saying, what's the strategy for mobilization? Right. We done already lost this election, y'all. I want you to know, we've already lost this election. The people have already lost this election because these two candidates are the choices. One of them is likely going to be president. Let's say the Dems decide to replace Biden, which I think is going to be a hard and long fight.
Absolutely.
If Dems agree to replace Biden, they're going to replace him with somebody who probably isn't the product of what we're talking about right now. And this is why I say from now, you can mark it. Late June 2024, the election is already lost for us and our cause and our people. We will do the best we can for the next 4 years, holding on and moving on as we know and see fit. And that's what a lot of people are thinking like right now. I'm just going to do what I got to do, how I do it, how we've done it. And that is a sorry state for a country.
Yo,
so when I say what's the move, it would require the candidate, us to push a candidate, us to believe in and do the work to get the right person in place. And stop complaining about the fact that we keep ending up in the same situation that even our parents were in, and which is entirely predictable and which is entirely preventable. But it requires people to come together, and we don't come together. The only thing that concedes when there is power is a demand, and we don't have a unified demand. What we have is a lot of people who want what they want, who keep going back into the space of saying, well, you know, it's hard. I just got to get my job. I know that. And that's affected by all these things up there. Well, I don't get into politics. I don't do all of that. You know, Lord save Jesus Christ, save me. Sure, I believe that too. Now, why you over complaining about Trump then? Get to work. We need unity. We need unity.
Yeah, you said that, man. You reminded me of how we, in this culture we have a somebody should do it culture here.
Yeah.
Somebody, you know how
Yeah.
somebody
That's
should
not
fill that
leadership.
pothole. Somebody should do that. Like, and then we get the people who have, again, the audacity to actually do something, even if it's the wrong thing, and that's who we get. Like, I truly wonder, like, where you made me consider a lot. Like, where do we go from here? Is this like, is voting that way going to ever get us the necessary change? Is it like, what is it going to take for us to consider something different? Like you said, like this is already lost, and somebody mentioned it in the chat too. So then, like, we're talking about who might we vote for, but like, what about the local elections too? Jamal Bowman just lost a primary, bruh. Like, to another Democrat who is further right than him. Primarily, Jamal Bowman lost it for one, gerrymandering. It's fixed. They gerrymandered black people out of his district. It's fixed. And because he said Palestinians should not be killed, like the victims of genocide. They basically said, nah, you do it right. Nah, we're gonna make your district over here. Like what we have right now is beyond comprehension. I'm
But
done.
Even that example right there, right? Jamal Bowman, like, most times in these moments, what I hear is people who are more concerned with how powerful someone is who is against them than how powerful they can be for themselves. When you see a lot of people on the left go to the center left or over to the right, that's usually not because they believe more of what's happening over there. It's because they respect the fear that those people have about further going to the left. And so they believe that they should be reconciling through compromise. And they no longer believe in the power of the people on their side for the same reasons that I'm saying I don't believe in the power of the people on our side, because they refuse to unify. They refuse to come together, and they will spend more time, just like what's happening in DEI right now. It's not that we have less people who believe in the power of DEI. We have more people who are afraid of people who don't than they are excited about people who do.
And when you say people have yet to unify, you can't have unity until you have direction. You can't have unity until you know this is where we're going to go together. And the main focus of the Democrats has been to go where the right is not going. Stop us from going into whatever downward spiral Trump and the Republicans will lead us on, as opposed to the positive vision for the future that needs to be presented for people to unify around. So to create a unifying force, it needs to be a clear vision for the direction that we're headed in. When we think about our third parties, a couple of things that I think have really held us up, we are also looking for that unifying that directional vision. You know, we hear a lot about Palestine, and I think it's an incredibly important issue. And we also need to hear what else is going to be happening around this candidate, so that we can get on board and roll with them into the future. I often would question whether or not some of the third-party candidates have wanted to win just by their rhetoric and the action that's taking place, or maybe it's just that they didn't start early enough to mobilize people to get on ballots in enough places. You know, we're talking about third parties that are on ballots in less than half the states in America right now, and don't seem to have plans to get on ballots in the rest. Cornel West, his number one, the people who are getting signatures for him are Republicans trying to get him on the ballot in New York, and those are being called into question. So we need direction, and there needs to be a clear path to getting there. I think we are looking around and seeing who else is going to do it, as opposed to looking inwardly and saying, how do I drive this action? How do I make this happen? Because it's important for me and my country. There have been times where people ask me if I'm going to run for any kind of office, and I look at that. I take a look at it, and I think it seems so big. It seems so daunting, like a no-win kind of position. It seems like such a tall mountain to climb. So I understand that hesitancy to be the person to present that vision and that direction, but also just thinking back on continually asking myself, if I'm not going to be in any of those positions, then who is? So I think really turning that mirror around and thinking about what my role is within this space, within this place, is important.
Can I go ahead, Dion?
It's funny because I think we're all like hitting on, I think, X, Eve, you, Jamal, like we're all kind of hitting on how we've been taught to pay attention to the big people and the big actions and how we've been, you know, just like no matter what, like, hey, this big thing, you know, every 4 years, this big thing in the city, you know, the mayor, you know what I mean? And it's just always been like that. And I always go back to this moment when, you know, I've been in a lot of fellowships. You know, I really try to make sure that whatever I can do for my organization or whatever position we could be in, I try to do that. But it was the moment I was sitting at University of Chicago during the civic leadership. I can't even think of what the fuck the A stands for. I don't care. Yeah, I don't academy. Yeah, and as a guy from the south side of Chicago that does not have a degree, you know what I mean? After you're told you can't lead without a degree and all of this stuff, I'm sitting there and we learn about Republican political history, and, and my mind is blown. I'll never forget how like I felt like, you know, the rug was pulled from under me about how these actions planned decades in advances after, like you said, X, after a punch in the face, and how, you know, they decided that, okay, well, we're going to plan for 2 decades in advance as opposed to 4 years. And it's not a either or, you know what I mean? It's an and, you know what I mean? Of course, there is uh there's a strength and a courage thing that has to be there, because I think all four of us continuously and all, like, every day, week, month, year, we always we do our best to keep that courage with us, because it can get hard at times. But there's also, I won't say this enlisting of strategy, but it's almost like we haven't been taught to see strategy. It's not saying that you have to be strategic, but we were never taught to look at actions and dissect the motivations and have a conversation with ourselves about what we think is going on. And I think that, you know, with where we are now, that was the first debate, and I'm 34. That was the first debate that I sat there and I had a conversation with myself. And I was able to just like really look at this. You know, that's why I really praise the medium, because it really broke out all of the distractions and really just allowed you to paint your own picture. And are we going to be here? Yes. And this is not, you know, 10-year work. This is fucking life's work. None of us, you know, we've been given no reason to be optimistic, and yet we are. You know what I mean? We're every day we're shown different ways we can be disrespected and downtrodden and not come together, and yet we find ways to do it. I don't know how, you know, like we were blessed enough to find the four of us and come together. But we also have these moments where we realize, like, okay, you know what? I broke my ego down enough to know that I needed you three. And I think that, you know, it's always going to go back to what we choose to accept. And we've just been predisposed to like accept the worst and like focus on big long shots. I'll finish with just saying it's like my marriage. Like, I've always been a home run hitter. I never ever worked my ass off every day for something until I did this. Because my wife was like that. My wife was always the everyday show up and bat 300 and make the Hall of Fame. And I always used to think that home runs were enough. And I think that we found ourselves in our lifespan. I don't give a damn about my parents right now. I don't give a damn about my ancestors right now. I'm talking about us right now. It has reached its nexus point for us. And it has to be something different. And the broad strokes won't be the things that get us there. Right now it's going to be, okay, you know what? What else? It's going to be what else? Because I don't want to be a home run hitter, you know what I mean, and just celebrate for 2 days. Because now I'm aware of strategy. Now I'm aware that I can, you know, I can study and prepare for my talk weeks in advance. You know what I mean? All of these things, and I think that there's this awakening that I'm going to choose to accept. You know what I mean? And man, is it bad? Yes. But we have 4 people right here. You know what I mean? 4 people right here that are wide the fuck awake. You know what I mean? And we've all voted and lost like a motherfucker. You know what I mean? It's gonna be some more losing. But look at what we've done with 2% of the budget. Look at what we've done with 4 people on live. You know what I mean? And it's not to say that we're wrong, or that we don't need more. We know we need fucking more. But that's why, you know, we all got on today when it wasn't the best for our calendars, because we got to. We got to. Because if all of the people who are worse than us are getting together, then motherfucker, we better get together. Because ain't no fucking excuse.
I want to zoom in. I want to zoom back into this particular debate. First of all, thank you for that, Dion. And I'm thinking about the particular...
That boy snapped.
Y'all heard that, chat? Y'all heard that? Yeah. Y'all hate, y'all like when we joking on each other. I better hear y'all putting hearts down there.
We've zoomed out on the debate and thought about like what it means in our ecosystem a lot more, and what it means for us. And I recognize that there are some pretty hardcore Biden supporters in here, and I think a lot of reasons that people are Biden supporters is because he's going to be the opposite of Trump. But I would say that we don't even have to disrespect his record. Like, we don't even have to look and say that even if you believe that he's been a wonderful president over these past 4 years, looking at his decline in ability, his decline in speech, his decline in reasoning, the quickness that we used to know of Joe Biden, that wasn't there yesterday. Joe Biden at one point said, "And by the way," and then stopped talking in the middle of the debate. He forgot his golf handicap and got pushed off of a number by Trump in an instant. There was a barrage of lies told by Trump while on this debate that he never barrage of lies that closely tied to Biden's platform that he never corrected and truly challenged Trump on. There are so many pieces in here that said that should make you question whether or not he should be the person to lead this country. Forget about it in the next 4 years between now and November, between now and January. There are so many pieces that should seriously cause you to question his ability to lead. And I think for people to continue to look at us and say, no, this is the option, this is the way, it makes me wonder what they're looking at. And it's only the way because we've decided it's going to be the way, when in reality we can create a new way.
Yo, can I
go ahead.
Yeah, can I say something in closing? I know you're gonna do your thing. I think that some of this stuff sounds so unbelievable, but I saw it. I saw those were the lowlights that I saw. The lowlights. I saw the comment that Trump said as well. Looking in the comments right now. I just feel like going back to what we said about somebody should do it. We like the savior complex in America, man. And a couple things. One, I think one of the most interesting things that I've realized over the course of voting is it's never just about voting for that person, although that's who we're shown. It's also about who they surround themselves with. And I think that Trump is also kind of exhibiting that because his intention is putting in these, Supreme Court justices and like the long game. We're still dealing with the ramifications of Reagan's election 40 years later, going through the hood. You can see that, right? I mean, still, the war on drugs, still. But I think that one of the best things, kind of echoing even what Dion was saying, is I think the best thing we could do now for all of us is we got to find a team of people in our community of like-minded folks. We can't start top end. We got to start, again, locally, like somebody also said. There might be a mayoral election. There might be a school board election. There might be, man, look, bro, like a park district election. Like the town I live never has a black act that they taste. That's a park district. You see what I'm saying? Like it's small stuff like that, the library, all of that. And I'm saying that because I'm thinking of this metaphor going back to women's basketball of how like Caitlin Clark, this phenomenon, everybody's, oh, Caitlin Clark's the reason. Caitlin Clark's the reason why people love women's basketball. Caitlin Clark's the reason. And you got all these thousands of women who played in this league before who are like, hold up. Like viewership was on the come up. Like it was rising before she got here. You forget about Cheryl Swoops and Maya Moore and Lisa Les and Candace Parker, all these people. We always want to place the individual as the solution, as a problem, as opposed to saying it was a team of people that did this. We want to blame one person as opposed to the people that surrounded them who led to this. Like how different would it look if we had to vote for a team as opposed to a person? We give a person too much credit, or we want to blame them for everything. We got to organize and mobilize with our neighbors. We scroll a lot. We watch marathons a lot, but we don't know the people right next to us who are impacted the same way with these things. And if we can't get outside of the social media cloud and our silos on here and arguing with people we don't know and actually have a discussion with somebody that's next to us, we're going to be here again. Like, and that's what it boils down to. What's your team like? It ain't about LeBron. It ain't about Jordan. It's about every single other person that was on that team that helped them win. And the Republicans, whatever they call themselves, the far right, whatever, they got a team. As individualistic as they are, they got a team, and they want complete domination. That's the goal. Complete domination of you. Subservience. So what we fighting back with, man?
I think that's they would say the same thing about us. They would say the same. They would say the reason why we were pushing, the reason why CRT was being taught, so-called taught, in elementary and high schools is because the Dems got a team. They got a plan. They're aligned and they want domination. The reason why when we talk about marriage equality and queer people having the rights to marry the same way that we do, they got a team. They got alignment. They got unity, and they trying to dominate. We're saying the same things. We're saying the same things. And when we win, they'll say it's because we had a strategy and we had unity where they didn't. And when they win, we say it's because they have unity and strategy and we didn't. That's why I keep saying, like, it's not about how the ball goes back and forward. It's about how you understand and have field vision to understand that we're playing a game that has 4 quarters, not one. It is not one pass. The game is won in inches. The game is won point by point, but the larger strategy has to be there. To Dion's point, around, Project 2025, somebody brought up Project 2025. Like where is our equivalent of that? That's a real and valid question. I want to just step back and say, what we often jostle between is this question of who's going to, like you were saying, like people have this savior complex. Like they're like, who's going to save us? And that's one side of the pole. The other side of the pole is, man, ain't nobody coming to save you. You got to save yourself. And that's another false narrative. When the reality is, in a participatory democracy, we all agreed that we would save each other. And that's why I'm saying that unity is the only currency for change in this type of a structure. If it was a monarchy, then you treat it like France in the 1700s and you go off with the head of the king. You had to fight, get a military. If it's about full-on the governmental control, treat it like Russia. Overthrow and wait for invading nations to take it over and topple it in a world war. But that's not what we got here in the U.S. That's not what we got here. What we have here is supposed to be a participatory democracy. And the currency of participation is participation. And that's not what we're doing. That's not what we're doing. And when we have these choices and create this false narrative of Biden or Trump, not seeing all along the way where we excused ourselves from leaning in and participating, we can't help but say we deserve this. In this structure, that is what happens. We can say it's white fragility. We can say it's the caucasity of it all. We can say it's white men do this and do that. But the reality is we do have the opportunity to come together. And we continually, generationally, reject that opportunity. And that is why I think the question is not who do we have for president? It's what is the spark that will light the fire for unity? It is not about who will save us or I will save us. It is about how will we love each other. Justice doesn't happen every 4 years. The work of inclusion and justice and equity is an ecosystem of players. The chaos that creates inequity requires a equally diversified, unified party to say, hey, the way that wrong happens is really, really diverse. So the way that right happens has to be diverse. People are waging war right now, and they are strategic about that. And they are organizing resources and permissions and people and all types of things. And so you have to then wage peace. You don't just get peace. Peace is an outcome. Peace is an outcome because you had a commitment and a consistency to deploy strategy towards it, not because you wished it and willed it into being. You worked for it. You all are not entrepreneurs and independently able to do what you do because it just happened by osmosis. Like D said, the most powerful thing that Dion just said was, I used to think that it was the home runs that got it. And I had to learn that it was the everyday. And your marriage taught you was the same. That's a relationship. And it's the same thing when we talk about our politics. Our political framework is an operating system for us to love one another. And the evidence of the debate last night is that we do not. And the reality is it's because people are looking for home runs. And you don't get a home run in 9. You don't get one every bat. It's in the day to day. And what we're not committing to is the day to day. We are people who are not agreeing that we're even in relationship with one another. And so when we look at the cumulative effect of over 300 million people saying, I don't know you and I have no responsibility to you, this is what we get. We have a responsibility to love one another. We have the right to act on that responsibility. What we don't do is say we have a responsibility to love one another. And then what we delegate is the acting of actually doing it. We delegate it to a single person every 4 years. And I'm done with that. It's dead. This can't be life. This can't be life. But it is our situation. And so this is where I agree that it is about what are we going to do? What are the 4 of us, but also broadly people who would agree with what we're saying today? What are they going to do? Not in these 4 years, but something that may take building an apparatus that might take 20. The Democratic Party was not built in an election cycle. The U.S. did not always have 2 major parties. The reality is that white men have not always been the only ones in the top seat in the executive branch of the United States. There has always been an opportunity for disruption. There has always been the opportunity when people came together and organized. And what we should be talking about is not who will be in office. That's going to do what it does. That's where I'm at right now. It's going to do what it does. Say that I'm wasting my vote. I'm not voting for Biden or for Trump. I'm voting third party. That's where I'm at. And we can say I'm throwing it away. Whatever. I'm standing on my integrity. I'm saying what matters to me. And I'm saying even if they won't, I will. Even if you think that the math won't add up, I'm not trying to add up to that math. That's not the point of my vote. It's to be counted in the number of those who said, I won't go along with this. And to build effectively with people who are closest to me to preserve our lives and create a sustainable, maybe smaller economy and community space where we can still thrive inside of a sinking ship.
And with that, this has been an amazing discourse. I just want to say 2 things. Thank you all for joining. If you have not, please follow the Unsaid as well as all of these amazing gentlemen on every single platform. Go to our YouTube page, hit subscribe, and hit that little bell button so you can know whenever we drop this episode. But I think the best words to leave with is what Joy P17 said in the chat, which is lead with love, work together, and progress is hard. We have a lot of questions. What's the strategy? What are we going to build? And in the words of my childhood, everything and more on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. Thank you for watching the Unsaid. We're going to be back this week. We're going to be back next week with another episode. And remember, this dialogue is about us saying what often goes unsaid. And it's not about us to be a monolith or represent everybody. But it's just for us to, have a dialogue and try to understand what we don't understand. So with that, gentlemen, be safe. I love you. I'm proud of you. And I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Love you, brothers.
Love y'all,
Peace.
Man. Peace.